Now, the last thing that I want to talk about in regards to um, high blood pressure is specifically salt and sodium intake. Now, everyone's intake of salt has dramatically increased over the last 30 years. And this is because of we're using a lot of salt in processed foods. We're going out to restaurants more where there's notorious for high amounts of salt. And then it's just becoming a habit. There's also complicated marketing, which sometimes promotes salt as something we should be adding to everything. And so let's talk about salt and why that is important for anyone of African descent. And it has been concluded that Africans are actually a salt sensitive people. It is a genetic predisposition, which is really fascinating when we think about our origins and our climate and all the different climates around the world. And we talk about this in the book. I'm going to go to the correct page here and we'll look at that together. Pardon me. I want to get to the right spot so you don't get dizzy watching me scan. Okay. So, for example, what happens is that, so in some cultures, like in Caucasians, for example, when we have extra sodium, we release it through our salt sweat and our urine. And what happens with people of African descent, and they attribute this to the exceptionally hot climate, right? So what happens is that now, instead of, well, not now, I apologize, that what happens instead of releasing excess sodium, people of African descent, their kidneys hold on to the excess sodium. And what happens, I'll bring up this page in the book so you can see it. So when the kidneys hold on, you're thinking, oh, that doesn't sound so bad. No, it's actually genetic design and it was a really good thing. So what happens is, and this is from Dr. Barbara Dixon, when the kidneys hold on to that sodium will attract and retain water. And if you think about that, if you're in an exceptionally hot climate and spending lots of time outside, this is a good thing. This is a defensive mechanism to protect the body so it doesn't get dehydrated. But when sodium attracts this water and retains it, that makes blood volume rise, and that is what increases blood pressure and heart rate. And so not a big deal for a traditional diet that is high in plants and which naturally is low in sodium. But our modern culture doesn't have us living like that. We've added in a lot of processed foods that are high in sodium. We're cooking with a lot of sodium and then using meats and animal products, which are often seasoned with them, and then going to restaurants where everything, I mean, even vegetables can have too much salt on them. And we're getting in the habit of putting a little here and a little there. So what happens in the African community is that this salt sensitive people, they're actually having more salt, more and more. This is increasing. And this is creating problems because we also see this match in elevated hypertension rates all over. So I also want to bring up one last thing that I think is worthy of exploration. And they've recently, just within the last few years, discovered this genetic predisposition it's a hormone system called RAAS, and it regulates blood pressure and balance. And so what happens when Africans have too much salt because of the design of their kidneys, it inappropriately stimulates this hormone system to start retaining salt and fluids. And so then that's how we see the rates of hypertension increasing so much. So I just want to encourage you, if you're thinking, well, I want to make sure that if I have this, I want to work on reducing it and overcoming that. Or if I don't, I want to focus on how to prevent myself from becoming one of those statistics. what we can do is, one, increase our plant foods that have this natural potassium, and they're going to be lower in fat and sodium naturally as well, and of course cholesterol free. But then a really, really important addition is to add fiber, so that that can assist us in moving the blood around, removing the excess cholesterol and things like that.